Hello, this is Tristan. Thank you for joining me. Today we are cooking a very classic French stew, perfect for the cold weather months. It's Bouf Bourguignon. And as always, don't let the French name intimidate you. At the end of the day, it's really just a simple and delicious beef stew with red wine. So let's get into it. Let's start by talking about the beef. Not all beef cuts are perfect for every recipe. Because we will be cooking this dish low and slow, we want meat that has a good amount of fat and collagen that will break down slowly through the cooking process, eventually giving us that beautiful melting texture we associate with stews and braises. I love using chuck for this process. It's relatively affordable and packs big flavor, but some people like to use fatty brisket. Oxtail and short rib are also options, though cooking time would have to be adjusted accordingly as they take longer. I have here about 3 pounds of beef chuck in one big piece, and we will want to cube this up and sear it, but I wanted to show you a little technique that I like to do to make this process easier. I begin by cutting the meat into thick and even slabs. You can see how nice that marbling is. Now, instead of cutting it into cubes, at this point, I actually start by searing these big pieces of meat and then cubing it afterwards. By the way, if your meat is really wet, you can consider patting it dry with some paper towels, as moisture is the enemy of good searing. I just season those slabs generously with salt and pepper. And then I get my favorite frying pan nice and hot, add a bit of oil. The smoking of that oil tells me the pan is ready, so I go in with my meat. And that's a nice sound. And I just let those brown deeply, giving them a couple minutes at a time on each side. You may have to work in batches depending on how big your pan is. For me, the advantage of searing in big pieces is ease and control. I find it's a lot easier to get a nice, even sear when the beef is in this big steak shape as opposed to cubes. It's also less work because you have to handle and flip less pieces of meat. And just looking at that Maillard reaction, I don't think we are losing any flavor by limiting ourselves to searing only 2 sides. While the beef finishes searing, I will take this time to do the obligatory request for liking and subscribing if you haven't already. I've been on a bit of a break. Something about having a kid really keeps you busy, but I'm happy to be back at it. Also, apparently there is some new feature called a hype button. I swear, you used to just have to ask for like, comment, subscribe. Then you also needed to ask people to click the bell, which I'm still reluctant to do. And now there is a hype button. But anyways, if you are watching on mobile within the first 7 days of this release, go ahead and click that button and we can see if it helps the video pop off a little better. Thank you. Once we have all those beef slabs seared off, we can let them cool off for a bit, deglaze the pan with a bit of red wine and pour it into a bowl for later, and then I get to work on another ingredient, bacon. Now, if you can find slab bacon like this, it works well because it's nice to be able to have big pieces that don't break down completely in the stew. But if you can't get slab bacon, just use the thickest bacon you can find or try to find a smoked pancetta. Either way, we need about 6 ounces, 170 grams, and we just cut those into 1-inch pieces. The French would call these lardons. I put those in a pan over medium-low heat and let it render and brown slowly. Once I have those brown and crispy, I remove them from the pan, and this is where I depart from tradition a little bit. I have here some minced onion, celery, and carrot, and that goes into the pan with all the bacon drippings and brown bits. And I will cook that until it's nicely caramelized. And this is called a sofrito. And while the veggies themselves are commonly used in French cooking, this is not the typical way to prepare them. But I have my reasons. A typical recipe usually has you add the aromatic vegetables while the beef is stewing. They will bring flavor, but by the end they are basically mush. You could add them later in the cooking process, but then they aren't contributing their essence to the stew from the beginning. So I do it this way. I have this cooked down mirepoix that goes in at the beginning, And I add some chunky veg later in the cooking process so they will still have a bit of a bite to them by the end. And while the sofrito is cooking, we can cube up our beef. I'm aiming for roughly 2-inch pieces, but if the meat has some natural breaks in it, I will just follow those lines instead. Don't overthink it. And once my sofrito is nicely cooked down, I chop up about 6 cloves of garlic, and that goes into the pan, which is still hot, and the garlic opens up aromatically and makes the kitchen smell even nicer. Now it's time to assemble. I get out my Dutch oven, I go in with the beef, and any juices that leaked out, as well as the wine that I deglazed with earlier. I go in with the sofrito, the bacon pieces get added, and just to make sure we are getting all the flavor out of that sofrito pan, I add a splash of red wine and give it one last scrape. Speaking of red wine, I'll add about another cup here. Then I add a very important ingredient, and that's 3 cups of homemade stock. In this case, it's a beef and chicken hybrid stock. And real quick, I just want to take a sidebar about stock. If you want exceptional soups and stews and sauces, you gotta make your own stock. And it's pretty simple. For this stock, I used a mix of chicken bones and some scrappy bits of oxtail. That all got roasted in the oven. Then that went into a pot, was covered with water. And then I had the classic mix of onions, carrots, and celery, cut in bigger pieces, sautéed in a hot pan to get a little browning, deglazed that pan with a bit of red wine, and added that all to the stock pot. Brought everything up to a boil, dropped the temperature to a simmer, skimmed some fat, and let it go for 5 to 6 hours. And once it was strained, it was ready to go. And I promise you, homemade stock is always better than store-bought. It's liquid gold. So back to the pot, I'm adding the leaves from a couple sprigs of thyme. Also, while filming, I forgot to add the tomato paste to the sofrito, so I had to sauté it alone for about 30 seconds and added it now, but you could have done that in the same time with the garlic. Now, as the stew comes to a boil, some gray foam will accumulate on top, and we just want to take a spoon and ladle that off. And for the final punch of red wine taste, I just quickly reduced 2 cups of red wine to 1 and add it to the mix. Now once everything is simmering, I place the top on the Dutch oven and set it in the oven set to 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 160 Celsius and let it go for 2 hours. After that 2 hours, things are looking really nice, but the beef is still on the chewy side, so we'll need to go for about another hour. As mentioned earlier, at this point I like to add my chunky aromatic vegetables. In this case, that's onion, carrot, and parsnip. Celeriac is another great option if you're looking for alternatives. I give that a quick sauté, and it goes into the pot with the beef. And then that all goes back into the oven for another hour. And after that time, things are starting to look very promising indeed. Checking in on a piece of beef, it has enough integrity left so it isn't falling apart in the stew, but it easily shreds when pulled at. I will put it on gentle heat on the stovetop, and in these final moments, I'll add our mushrooms. That's about half a pound of brown mushrooms, and all I did was remove the dirty end of the stems and quarter them. They only need about 5 minutes in the stew to soften. At this point now, we should taste for seasoning and make any adjustments if necessary. Also, as one last little final touch, I'll add a little bit of fresh butter and a splash of raw red wine for freshness. Now, I think this is a really beautiful consistency, but if you felt yours was a little runny, you could bring the stew to a simmer and add a few spoons of a cornstarch slurry just to tighten it up a bit. As for me, I like where it's at. This is a really beautiful beef stew, and the only thing we are missing at this point is some mashed potatoes or pomme puree. Peel some Yukon Gold or a similar variety. Cut them into big chunks. Cover with cold water, add a pinch of salt, bring the water to a gentle boil. Drain the water from the potatoes once they are tender. Pass the potatoes through a food mill. Add some hot milk and cream mix that has been infused with herbs and garlic. Once the potatoes are smooth, add a generous amount of room temperature butter and incorporate it gently using a spatula. Don't be shy with the salt either. Potatoes love salt. And that's how you make restaurant quality mashed potatoes. Drop a comment if you want a proper recipe. For now, let's plate. I put some mashed potatoes down on the plate and make a natural little basin. Then we spoon in that wonderfully rich beef stew. And unfortunately, this is one of those dishes that just doesn't look stunning on camera, but it more than makes up for it with taste. Seriously, this is comfort food at its best. And as good as it is now, somehow it will taste even better when you reheat it the next day. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this look at a French classic with some non-traditional modifications. If you did enjoy it, don't hesitate to show it by clicking that like button. I would love to reach more people, so subscribe as well so you can see when new videos like this one come out. It's a crazy world, and if I can bring a little peace and calm in the form of long-winded cooking videos, I'm happy to do so. And comments are of course encouraged, both if you have questions or think my adjustments are abominations. Until next time, cheers.